So why'd you even start a clothing brand? I mean, there's new ones popping up every single day. Like, I mean, my friend has one, my grandma has one, my aunt, and then there's some that my favorite rapper wears. So why would you even start a clothing brand? I'm gonna let you guys know in this video right here. Growing up, my grandfather was the main male influence in my life, and my grandfather was a pastor, so naturally he had suits and stuff ready to go. But if you know my grandfather, one thing that always stands out about him is he wears a suit no matter what he's doing, no matter where he's going. My grandfather could go cut the grass, he's wearing a suit. He could go to the store, he's wearing a suit. He can go check the mail, he's wearing a suit. He could go to a theme park, my grandfather is wearing a suit. And I'm telling you now, my grandfather wore a suit no matter where he was going. So one day I finally asked him, I said, well, how come you're always wearing a suit? And he was like, well, son, truthfully, you never know who you're going to run into when you go out or when you're doing something. You never know who might show up or something like that. So you always want to be presentable and ready. And then he also said, when you look good, you don't have any confidence issues. So you're going to feel good and you're going to be more open. You're going to be more sociable. So I've always really been into making sure that you look nice, look presentable because of that, of what he told me. If you knew me back in elementary school, you would know every single Friday, I didn't care what we were doing on that Friday. I was going to wear a suit to school because I wanted to look nice and look presentable and dress well and feel good. And that was my natural attitude about things because of what my grandfather had told me. Where my clothing business journey started at really was as a kid having that mentality of, okay, well, looking good means you feel good. I always had this thing about making sure other people felt good, making sure that other people were happy, making sure other people, were being their best self before I even knew what that meant. I was excited. I was, oh man, this person's happy, this person's smiling. So I naturally said, well, if I know that clothes make me feel good, maybe I should get other people some clothes and start a clothing business. And that was my dream as a little kid. And it kind of stuck with me in the back of my head. But when I went to high school, I got into ROTC. So I got into specifically Marine Corps, JROTC, Hoorah, go Marine Corps. And it made me want to join the Marines. So I had like this sole focus growing up from high school to getting into college. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to college and become an officer, go into the Marine Corps. That was like my thing. If you knew me, I was like, oh, Marine Corps, Marines, I'm gonna do the Marines. And I mean, there are things that happen along the way to where I decided not to do that. And I will explain that later on because trust me, it's not the only YouTube video I'm gonna upload for you guys. I'm gonna get more into my spiritual journey and how I got to where I am now, and possibly hope that there are bits of information that I've gone through or things that I've experienced that I can give back to you all to help you all out along your journey. And that's also part of why I started the clothing brand. After high school, my whole focus was still going into the Marine Corps because I had enjoyed JROTC. We had went to trips to Marine Corps bases, got to meet Marines. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to college and then go into the Marines as an officer. That was my whole game plan. And when I got to college, I decided to get my major focused in business administration. I did go to FAMU, go Rattlers. And when I got there, I remember somewhere around my sophomore year, I had like 4 classes back to back. And no discredit to the school, no discredit to any of my professors, but so happened one day they all repeated the same thing back to back. One day when you work for somebody, one day when you work for somebody, one day you work for somebody, one day when you work for somebody. And I was like, oh my goodness, are you teaching me how to be an employee for the rest of my life or be an efficient boss? Because I have a mentality of, if you know how to be a boss, even if you don't want to be one, you'll be a very efficient employee. You don't have to be managed. You don't have to be micromanaged. Nobody has to stand over your shoulder saying, what are you doing? You getting this stuff done? Because I'm like, you're a boss. Like, you'll get the assignments done and nobody has to hunt you down for stuff. And it really bothered me that day. So I went home and I'm sitting there thinking, and just a little background about me. With my grandfather being a pastor, owning his own church, my grandmother had her own salon. They both kept me in the behind the scenes stuff, like how to manage the bank account, how to fill out your bank slips, take it to the bank, handle the business, the sales part, and all that extra stuff. So I was exposed to some of that growing up, and that mentality really stuck in my head. And that's probably why it bothered me so much when I heard that one day. So I went home and assessed, And I was like, well, you did say you want to start a clothing business. And I think I learned around the time that there were a lot of people in the military who might have a side business or something like that. So I was like, oh, it's possible. And I decided to switch to graphic design because my mentality was still there about having a clothing business, but it was solely focused on going to the Marines. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll switch to getting my major in graphic design and just get a minor in business. I think I maybe needed a few more classes because I started out as a business student in order to get my minor in business. So I switched to that. I was like, well, I can still have that business knowledge and get the little things like accounting and financial management and all that stuff out the way. But I can also mainly focus on how to be the marketer and learn how to do the design so that way I could put it on the shirt. And I remember when I switched, I started learning like how to use Photoshop and Illustrator and what each program was for. And mainly at FAMU at the time, I don't know about currently, but when we joined as graphic design students, it was more so like product knowledge. Okay, you have this product, how do you market it? How do you make a game plan for it? And so I kind of had that know how, that understanding afterwards. But with me getting my minor, my last 2 years of college, I needed a few classes, and I ended up doing real estate classes. Those real estate classes were so interesting because all of my jobs had been in sales because I was working all throughout college, and it had been sales jobs. I love sales. Also love getting a little analytical information. Like if you give me something, if you tell me something, I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole trying to research it. And so I was like, man, real estate seems really cool. It's complicated. So I decided to apply for the master's program during the year that I graduated. So I'm a pandemic graduate in 2020. I decided to apply for the master's program, the real estate master's program at the University of Central Florida, Go Knights. And I switched, I did the move during the pandemic and all that, and I came down here. And I really loved the classes. And I got a job with a commercial real estate firm. And commercial real estate is office building, retail, hotels, stuff like that, the bigger products. And I was like, man, I love this. It's so much knowledge. Like when you learn stuff about real estate, you learn it's more than just getting a license and trying to sell a home. Like there's different fields, different industries of the real estate sector. There's different kind of knowledge you need to know for each thing. So I just found that so interesting. And as I got into my career, I was working again at a commercial real estate firm, and I kind of felt a little unfulfilled. And I had talked with them. I'll get more into that story later. It just wasn't really associating with me. And I switched to go work for a home builder. And it was fun. It was good at first, and then after a while, kind of that mentality of felt like I was missing something more to me came along. But I will have to say during that time frame, so I would say about 2020 to about now 2023, I also took a spiritual journey. So imagine you feeling unfulfilled, but you're going through spiritual journey, getting all these what we call downloads. You're learning a lot at the same time, getting these downloads and trying to figure stuff out. I'm feeling unfulfilled. And then at the same time, again, because of the pandemic, there was a lot of chaos going on in the world. And so I sat there and I'm watching and I'm like, man, people are out here just doing whatever because they don't know themselves. People don't know that they are royalty. People don't know that they're children of the creator. I mean, whether you believe in God or not, you're still a child of creation. And I'm like, that makes you royalty. You're like blessed with these gifts to overcome your obstacles and your battles. And yet people sit here going back and forth and bickering or not doing anything internally, which translate to externally nothing getting done. Are you going around in these loopholes and circles? Because again, I've been on that journey. I went from clothing business to knowing what I wanted to do to going to the Marine Corps to real estate, and now I'm back at the clothing business and I feel so fulfilled doing it. Looking at everything going on, knowing that I was feeling unfulfilled, I'm seeing the chaos in the world, going through my spiritual journey. All my life, I will have to insert this little thing and let you know that all my life, little things have happened for, I don't call God, I call him Father. That's my personal relationship with him. So, Father has always shown me that, okay, there are times you need to move and I got your back and I just need you to get these things done. And so you develop this fear of God when you know he's like that. Like there are things that he tells you to do, and if you don't listen, he will just put it in your face, like, okay, I need you to do these things. And it's like, oh my goodness, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's scary just how much he replies or responds. But I've also have realized throughout my spiritual journey that there are a lot of signs and signals and stuff that people miss because, they might think that they're demonic, or they might not really know what it is, so they don't associate with it. But I'm like, God has to speak to you in certain ways. Like, he can't just outright talk to you a lot of times. I think if he did, that would just like mentally, like, or in some weird, unexplainable way, really mess with us. So he speaks to you, or he gives you signs and signals as best as he can. And he was just kind of like, John, you need to move on. You need to do it. And I remember one day I got home from work, and I was feeling so unfulfilled, and I randomly had a pen and paper sitting in front of me. And I got this download, and I'm just writing stuff. I'm writing stuff. I'm like, okay, yeah, this, that. And about an hour to hour and a half later, I had planned this entire business. I mean, I didn't have every little detail out, but the essential basics of what the business was and how it should be and the meaning behind everything. Yes. And then probably like another 30 minutes later, I was like, oh, okay, okay, I'm going to need a logo. And I just randomly sketched out something. I might insert a photo of my original sketch of the logo. And I was like, man, I said that was creative. But the way this information came to me, it was kind of like I had went into a trance, and I was just sitting there just writing. And then so I had looked at everything that I wrote, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, I was like, wow, that's a lot of information. I was like, now I have what I need to start a business. And if you ever talk to me about the business, I'll say, look, I'm just the person that's physically here to get the job done. But really, Father, God, Creator, I'm like, He is the CEO and the founder and CEO of this business. I'm just the one that's physically present to get stuff done. I'm the one that the government, or the customers or something, or somebody can talk to. I'm just physically here to get the job done. And there were a lot of times I did along the journey of starting this business. And even till now, I have yet to launch. As of June 23rd, 2023, I have yet to actually launch the business. And I'm thinking about launching it next week before the end of the month, just to go ahead and get it out there. I'm just waiting on a little gift that I want to include in your orders. I'm waiting for that to get here, so that way I can fully open up the store, get things out there. Um, and so along the journey, I had questioned whether I should start the business, which is in a way questioning God. And I didn't really mean to, but it was like, should I be doing this? Is this something I should really be doing? And each and every time he just came through with a response of like, whether it was somebody random asking me information about God, because my understanding of him is very different, it's very elaborate, but I'm able to explain it to you if you give me the time. And I will do that later on, just to give you guys some help again along your spiritual journey, because I've learned that you can learn anything from anybody. There's tidbits that everybody has, whether it's a little kid, whether it's a crazy man on the street, or the man or the person that you think is crazy on the street. We all have valuable information. It's just that we don't take the time to listen or to be open to receiving certain messages. So I will make those videos to give back to you guys, to also help you along your journey, hopefully, or maybe give you insight about things that you didn't know or things that you didn't understand. And that'll be in more videos later on. But people would just randomly stop me, and they would just ask me, and they're like, okay, well, what about this and that? Or randomly, I would run into a lot of people as I was playing in this business. And again, my whole business is about knowing that you're royalty, knowing that you're more, that you have authority over your life, you have authority over your life's path, your goals, and all of that. And I randomly would run, every time I question, I'd also run into people that had pretty much given up on themselves. Like, they would outright tell me, yeah, I just pretty much gave up on myself. I don't really believe in myself. And I'm like, why not? You gotta believe in yourself. Like, you could believe in free pizza Fridays, but you can believe in yourself. And that's insane to me, to think that people really give up on themselves. And it just kept reminding me along the way that, hey, this is something that you're doing not just for yourself, you're not doing this for yourself. Again, this is his business. I'm just physically here. And I'm like, you're not really doing this for yourself. You're not really doing this for the money. I mean, please go buy the products, because I do need the finances to live in this world. Okay. So princerichmond.com. please. Uh, please go there, buy some products, please. But I was like, it's not really about the money and or the fame and all that extra stuff, but it's really about reminding people that they're valuable, that they're loved, and that they mean more to this world than they realize. And how much potential that each and every person have, and that we as a collective are here on this earth to do more, to help each other out. Like, you might, if we're building a house, you might be the person with the screw. Jim Bob down the street got the screwdriver, Tim has the wood, and I have the building plans, and we need to come together to figure out how to build this house. But if Tim Bob doesn't go and search for the screws that we need, if everybody isn't doing their part, then how do we build this house together and make it look nice? And that's why I was like, every time I heard somebody say they were giving up on themselves, I'm like, oh no, we need you. And it reminded me to keep going with this business, keep helping people. So I mean, that's essentially how I got here. That's my long drawn, or maybe depending on if you saw this video, it's short. That's my story of how I got to where I am today and why I started my clothing businesses. Again, I want people to look good, feel good, but also to be consistently reminded that they are more, that they're valuable. And I've been through a lot and I've experienced a lot that's helped me to remember that somebody has to be here to remind people that they're more and that they can do it, that they're capable. Like, I want y'all to understand, I was the kid that went to school with holes in the bottom of his shoes, the kid that whose mom was trying her best to survive, so we were making creative meals. And I look at where I am now, and I'm like, if it hadn't have been for my father who art in heaven, I honestly don't know where I'd be today. And I just really seek to have people understand that he is with you, and that together y'all are like the powerhouse. You are in this world, and a lot of the times that the people you may love, or the people that say they love you, they are also on their own life's journey, so they can't 100% always be with you all the time, or jump when something needs to be done. But also know that during those times you're capable of getting those things done. You're blessed with royal divine authority, like to overcome any life's obstacles, to overcome darkness. And I just felt like it really needed to be reminded. And so that's why I put this business out here. That's why I kept going. That's why I kept pushing. And it's crazy that I look now and I'm like, from being a little kid to being somebody who switched career paths, or switched focuses and wanted to do everything at one time, to randomly coming home, sitting down, writing something, doing a sketch, to seeing physical products in front of me. It's just amazing to know that I've made it this far. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what happened. Like, I started a clothing brand. We're here now. Again, princerichmond.com. I'm gonna keep saying that to you. Go there and buy something. And even if you buy it again. But if you stayed this long, I really do want to thank you for watching this video and listening. I'd ask that you please like the video and subscribe. You can press the bell button in the corner to stay notified. Also, please share the video. We need to get the rest of our family here. We're all a collective. We're all here. We need to get the rest of our family here and let them know that they're royalty, that they're loved. Know that you are loved by the Father, by the Son, by the Holy Spirit, and you're loved by me. Take care. Have a great day and stay blessed.